Hi, this is Shayna and I'd like to show you how to work a make one left increase. Typically when I work increases, I work them at least one stitch, but normally 2 stitches away from my edge. The reason I do that is that I'd like to have a nice clean looking edge for my seam later on, assuming that you're working something with a seam. If your pattern has specific requirements for you to increase right next to the edge or a few stitches in, you can defer to that. So to work a make one increase, we're going to lift this horizontal bar that's laying between the 2 needles, this piece right here, onto the left hand needle from front to back. So we're going to put the left hand needle underneath that horizontal bar from front to back. And then what we're going to do is work through the back of that stitch. So it's going to feel very tight to get into that stitch, and if it's tight, it's right. I'll turn it a little bit so you can see. We're going into the back leg of that new loop that's on the needle. And again, if it's tight, it's right. So we're going to wrap our yarn around and then pop up and out. And here we've made a make one increase. So this is our new stitch sitting on the needle. And right below it we have a little twisted strand of yarn, and that's where the make one came from. And that twisted strand of yarn leans a little bit to the left. You can see the left leg of the stitch stands higher than the right leg. So I'll knit a few more and then I'll work another increase to show you. Alright, so let's work another one. So with the left hand needle, we're going to go from front to back underneath that horizontal bar that was laying between the 2 needles. So front to back and stick that horizontal bar onto the left hand needle. Then you're going to knit through the back leg of that stitch. One way to get in there, if it's a little too tight, you can put your pointer finger on the stitch and roll it backwards, and that tends to open up the back leg of the stitch. And wrap and come on up and off. And there's your make one. I'll do a few more and then show you what not to do. So again, we want to make sure that we go in from front to back onto the left hand needle. Do not go into the front like this and knit your stitch, otherwise you get a big hole. Essentially you've made a yarn over. I'll leave that there so you can see it, but that's what happens if you don't make sure that that stitch is twisted closed. So we're going to go in from front to back, knit through the back leg to make sure it's twisted closed. If it's tight, it's right, and then come on off. And that's your make one. Now down at the end of the knitting, I worked a make one a few rows ago. Say you're working a pattern that asks you to increase every 4th row or every 6th row, like a sleeve or something like that. It's handy to know how to count from your increases in case you lose track of where you are. So let's say I get to my last 3 stitches or 2 stitches. We want to find our last make one. Oh, here we go. I'll put that back over here. So the way to tell how many rows you've done since your last make one is, this is that horizontal bar that we lifted up. So the stitch above it is actually the stitch that was created. That's our make one. This is just the horizontal bar that got us there. So we have the horizontal bar that we twisted closed to create the make one, and from there we had 1, 2, and 3 rows knit. So that was the horizontal bar, so this was the actual row that did the make one, and then we have 1, 2, 3 on the needle from there. So if my pattern called for me to increase every 4th row, this would now be the 4th row, and I'm going to go in, work through the back of the stitch to twist it closed and create my new stitch. And that's the make one. Thank you. Happy knitting.